Okay, hi. I think I figured it out. So we're going to take an hour and do an all levels vinyasa class. What you'll need is a towel or a strap, one of these guys, and 1 or 2 blocks or a water bottle that would be around the height of your forearm or so. We are going to start, let's start in our backs today. So hopefully this sounds okay. We're going to figure it out. We're going to start on our backs and just start with your hands either down by your hips with palms up, feet at hips width distance, and just walk your tailbone forward so you can lay the low back nice and flat. Walk your shoulders down and away from your ears. Maybe even find a little tuck of your chin to lengthen the back and sides of your neck. And then you can stay here, or you can bring your feet together and let your knees fall out wide. You can allow your arms to maybe shift up to a cactus shape or a goalpost shape, bending at your elbows. And just taking a couple big breaths here. Starting to test the capacity of your lungs. Feel your inhales and exhales start to grow in length. Maybe take a couple big clearing sighs out of your mouth. And then beginning to think of your breath as more of a 3-dimensional type of breath. So rather than just going up and down, see if you can start to feel it moving side to side, as well as front to back. So giving you that kind of balloon feeling as you inhale, noticing spaces between your ribs start to expand, maybe some more space in your hips or your low back. And then as you exhale, everything can relax and settle a little bit further down into the mat. Just a couple more rounds of breath like that. And then when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open, plant your feet, and then hug your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, and just give yourself a squeeze for a second. I like to point my feet, flex my feet here. You can rock side to side, walk your shoulders again down and away from your back. All right, and then we're gonna start with a little bit of ab work. So plant your feet. Again, right at hips width distance. We're gonna start wrapping our right leg up and over our left. You can tick-tock your left foot closer to center, and then arms reach out to a T so you can wrap your right arm underneath your left. And then lift your elbows up to the height of your shoulders. And as you inhale, come onto the point of your left toe, and then reach your fingertips just to barely tap the ground behind you. And then as you exhale, squeeze in, bring elbows to knees, squeeze thighs, calves, forearms, elbows together, and then inhale, extend, and just barely tap the ground behind and in front of you with feet and toes. And then exhale, squeeze it back up, elbows to knees, chin into chest. Inhale, lengthen, tap. Exhale, pull it in, breathing out. About 3 more times like that. Inhale, long. Exhale, up to crunch. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbows to knees. Last one. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull it in, pause, squeeze elbows closer to thighs, lift your shoulder blades up a bit more, and then unravel, stretch your arms forward and your feet. And then exhale, plant your feet again. Take a big breath out and we'll set up for the other side. So left leg up and over. Left arm swims under. Take an inhale to lengthen, tap toes and fingertips. And then exhale, curl it up, breathe out. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, lengthen, tap, barely touching the ground. Exhale, curl. 3 more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, up. Last one. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl, pause, squeeze elbows and knees closer, see if your tailbone can float, lift your shoulder blades, and then inhale, unravel, unwind, get long. Open your mouth side out. Take a breath in there, and another exhale to let it go. And then we're gonna start finding some bicycles to build a little bit more heat here and turn on our low abdominals. So shins come parallel to the ground, flex your feet. You can always grab a block if you feel like it's a difficult task to remember to hug your knees in. You can squeeze the block between your inner thighs. And then fingertips are wrapping around your ears like little Princess Leia buns. With elbows wide, lift your shoulder blades up and away from the mat. You can reset that flat, low back. And then take a big breath in here. And then keep that squeeze of the block between your legs. But as you exhale, you're going to twist right elbow to left knee. Kick your right foot forward. Keep your feet flexed. Inhale back to center. Right leg comes up to meet the left. Exhale, left elbow to right knee. Send your left leg. Just keep that left foot hovering. Then inhale back to center. Exhale, switch. Bring your elbow to your knee rather than your knee to your elbow. Exhale, switch. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. And then keep going for 10 counts. You can stay at a slower pace. Inhale to lift and exhale to twist. Or you can go a little bit faster. Got about another 6 to 7 counts. Keep your breath moving. Keep the energy in your feet, your outer shins hugging in, your inner thighs rolling down. Another 5, 4, elbows wide, 3, 2, 1. And then exhale, bring it all the way down, arms around your shins. Take a breath in. Open mouth sigh and let it go. All right, then grab behind your knees. Then start to rock and roll, inhaling forward towards your tailbone, exhaling back towards your shoulders. Inhale forward, exhale back. Feel all the muscles along your spine press down into the ground. And then engage that low belly to gain a little bit of momentum. You're going to cross your ankles, plant your hands, and make your way to a tabletop position. And I'm going to spin around here. Hands are going to land underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked, up to you. And then inhale, start to drop your belly. Stretch your low abdominals as you reach your gaze and tailbone up. Hug your shoulder heads back. And then exhale, push down, curl your spine, bring your chin to chest, spread your fingers and push the earth away. Inhale again through that cow pose, breath in, look up. Exhale through cat. Let your breath start to move along with the inhales and exhales. That doesn't make sense, but what I mean is let your breath and movement sync up a little bit closer. So inhale, really drag it all the way out to the very top of that posture, and then exhale all the way emptying till you find that peak arch in your spine. About 1 or 2 more rounds. Inhale for cow, exhale for cat. And then pausing at the center, finding a neutral spine and just getting used to that neutral spine. It's not so much of a release of your low belly. There's still a little pull of your hip bones forward, a little hug of your low ribs in. And you're still feeling your shoulders, elbows, and wrists stack. So finding that core engagement in a little bit of a different variation here. So using our push to start to lift. Toes will tuck now. Keep your hands at that shoulder width distance. Index finger straight forward at 12 o'clock. And then start to feel the hollowing of your low belly to then lift your knees to hover about 1 inch or 2 off the mat. And again, engaging your inner thighs together like you're squeezing a block between them. Now your shoulders and arms will start to help you stay balanced here. So notice your biceps start to roll forward. Keep your gaze at the front of your fingertips, maybe towards the front edge of your mat. Take another 2 big breaths here. 1 more breath. And then we're going to lift our hips, straighten our legs, and press chest back to thighs for downward facing dog. And you can always bring your hands to blocks here if that down dog is a little bit too intense to start right off the bat. Hands are again going to stay at shoulder width distance. Your feet can be a bit wider than your hips, and you can bend your knees quite a bit here if you need. But just like you were in that hovering tabletop, you want to feel your hands push the earth away. So you can rotate your elbow eyes up, hugging your triceps in, and then let your head and neck release. You can even add a little nod, yes and no. You can add a little pedal through your feet, bending one knee and then the other. Couple more big breaths here. And then again, keeping that option of the blocks underneath your hands, or as you feel ready, as your shoulders warm up a bit, you can take those out. From here, we're going to bring our feet back to hips width distance, as much of a bend as you want to keep in your left knee, and then send your right leg all the way up, 3-legged dog. Big toes facing down, still pushing the earth away, melting your chest back to your left leg, and then bend your right knee, roll that hip open to stack. Keep your chest melting back, lift your right knee up towards the ceiling, flex your lifted right foot, see if you can feel your right heel move towards your left shoulder. And then inhale, extend your right leg back to straight, square your hips. And bring that foot forward all the way up between your palms. Step that foot off between your hands. When I find a low lunge here, build a little bit more heat. And again, blocks can come back to hands on either side of that front foot, and then you can squeegee this back foot so you get this nice long lunge. Your right knee is stacked directly over your ankle, and then you're gonna plug that femur bone into the hip socket, and then open your collarbones, feel your inner thighs hug together, your low belly lift slightly. 2 more big breaths here. 1 more big breath. Then you can gaze back down, plant your hands, get light in your left foot, 1 or 2 big steps, or maybe pause in a standing splits to open up the back of that right hamstring. Your exhale is gonna set your left foot next to your right, and we'll find a big forward fold at the top of the mat. So knees and ankles are stacked, hands can grab opposite elbows, and then shifting your weight closer to your toes. Maybe you can start to think of lengthening the backs of your legs a bit more without locking your knees. You find your ragdoll here as you shake your head yes and no. Keep your breath nice and long in through your nose. Maybe flutter your lips. Releasing any tension in your mouth or your jaw, maybe in the sides of your neck. Next exhale, release your fingertips. Tick-tock your feet back towards that hips distance. And then hands can find shins, floor, or blocks. As you inhale, find a halfway lift. Still a soft bend in my knees, shoulders are gonna roll back, keep my gaze down, so so back of my neck is in line with my spine. And then exhale, bend my knees, exhale, fold back down. 2 more times like that. So inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, floor or blocks, belly up and in. Exhale, release back into the fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then a big bend in your knees, nice and slow, you're gonna roll up as your tailbone gets heavier, each vertebra alphabetically stacking its way all the way up until you find standing. And then feel your tailbone continue to lengthen, neutralize your pelvis, flip your palms forward. As you inhale, stretch your arms all the way up, press your hip bones forward, maybe add that little back bend, and then settle your hands at your heart. Take a sway out of your low back by lifting slightly through your low belly, and then a little tuck of your chin to lengthen the back and sides of your neck. Take a breath here. Open mouth side. Blink your eyes open if they're closed. Sweep your arms up. You can add that little back bend. Exhale, bend your knees. Belly's lifted as if you're in that halfway lift to swan dive all the way back down to your toes. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. And then plant your palms. You can step your 2 feet back and make your way to a plank pose. Plank can always come down to your knees if you need, but hips higher to the height of your shoulders. Again, feel that slight hollow of your low belly, shoulders, elbows, and wrists stacked. Take 2 big breaths here. 1 more big breath. Then we're pressing back to down dog, hips up and back. Again, add that pedal through your feet if you need, add that nod of your head and neck. 2 more rounds of breath. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more inhale. Outtail, like I used to say when I was a kid, until my mom told me that was wrong. Anyway, from there, 3-legged dog. Inhale, the left leg this time is gonna reach up and back. And again, give yourself a second here to square your hips. Add that little bend in your right knee if you need. Power up through your arms as you press the earth away underneath. And then bend your left knee, open and stack that hip. Even out the weight in your arms to press your shoulders back to square. And again, as much of a bend in your right knee as you lift your left knee higher in the opposite direction. Top of your left thigh or hip crease should be getting a little bit of a stretch. Inhale, extend your left leg to straight, square your hips. And then bring it forward, knee to nose, then cat spine to step it off between your palms. And again, option to take those blocks on either side of that front foot. Squeegee your right foot back into that nice long lunge. The front of this right hip starts to open, and then square left hip back into the socket. Open your collarbones and lift your gaze. 3 big breaths here, building heat. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Then look down, get light in your right foot. Again, 1 or 2 steps, or find that little standing splits to open up through the back of the left hamstring, little bend in that left knee. Exhale, right foot meets your left, find the fold at the top of your mat. When you're ready, bend your knees. Reverse your swan dive. This time, inhale, sweep all the way up to stand. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Feel your tailbone drop, your hip bones lift. 2 big breaths there. Inhale. Exhale. Then sweep your arms up. Add a side body stretch. Your tailbone stays heavy, feet at hips distance. Your right hand is going to slide down your right thigh. And then press your hips over to the left as you lean over to the right. As much space as you can make between your lowest left rib and that hip bone. Inhale takes you back up. Again, reset your tailbone nice and long. Left hand down your left leg. Press your hips to the right and bend to the left. Shoulders down, inhale back through center. Lift up, add that back bend if it feels good. Bend your knees, hinge forward. Find that swan dive back down to your toes. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Exhale, plant your palms, step back, make your way through plank. Exhale this time, again, option to bring your knees down to the mat. Shifting forward over your fingertips. Rotate your elbows forward to then bend your elbows, grazing your sides, and come all the way down onto your mat. And then lengthen your legs behind you one at a time. Press your pelvic bone down, slide your hands to your low ribs, create 90 degrees in your elbows and wrists. And then inhale, lift your chest through a cobra. Exhale, let it come back down. 2 more times. Inhale, peel up, press through the tops of your feet and your pelvic bone, lighten your palms. Exhale, back down. Inhale, cobra, hug elbows together. Exhale, back down. And then knees out wide, toes together, child's pose. Bring your hips back to your heels, forehead towards the mat, and sink down for 2 breaths. You can always find a child's pose with knees together and hands back by your feet to give your shoulders a bit more of a rest. After that second breath, come back up through that tabletop, and then tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. 2 big breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to start to move towards some sun A's, building a little bit more heat and finding more of a 1 breath for each movement pace. So from here, big toes come together. Take an inhale, lift your heels. Bend your knees. You can take 2 big steps, maybe right foot first, left foot second. Make your way to the top. Find an inhale there for the length, halfway lift. And then exhale, slight bending your knees to fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. Find that side body stretched on the left side first this time. So left hand down your left thigh. Press your hips to the right. Inhale back up through center. Belly lifts, tailbone heavy. Hand down your right leg. Bend to the right. Inhale, back up, add that little back bend with a flat spine, shifting your way to your toes, swan dive all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, plant your palms, again, maybe 2 big steps or a light hop, landing in your Chaturanga, and we'll land all the way down to our belly. A little variation on that cobra this time. Plant the tops of your feet. We're gonna inhale, come up to cobra in our chest and stay here. Elbows hug in, little tuck of your chin to lengthen the back and sides of your neck. And then hug your heels together. 3 times you're gonna inhale, lift your low body, your legs. Keep your upper body lifted and then lower as you breathe out. 2 more times. Inhale, lift just your low body. Turn your back body on. Exhale to lower. Hug your outer shins and heels together. Last one. Inhale, lift. Maybe start to float your palms. Lift a little bit higher. And then exhale back down. How everything releases. Option to find that child's pose here. You can also find tabletop or tuck your toes. Tailbone towards your heels. Push up through plank. And exhale, press back, downward facing dog. 2 breaths there. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, sigh, let it go. Another one like that. Big breath in. Open mouth. From here, big toes together. Little baby step forward. Look forward of your fingers. Strong, straight arms as you bend your knees. You can step 2 steps or maybe find a light hop or 2, making your way feet to hands to fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, when you're ready, sweep all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale again, big sweep up. Exhale, belly up and in, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Preparing for Chaturanga, high to low push-up, stepping or floating back. Either that cobra or up dog. Rotate your triceps back. Pull your heart forward of your arms and keep that tailbone moving towards your heels. Then you can roll over the tops of your feet, make your way back. Down dog again, 2 big breaths. One more breath. I'm going to take 3 more rounds of that. Knowing that you can skip that Chaturanga, your Vinyasa, or edit it at any point. Here we go. Big toes together, lift your heels, bend your knees, look to the front, step or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to stand. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hinge forward. Halfway lift, find length, prepare. Step or float, Vinyasa or not. High to low push-up. Up dog or cobra, breathe in. Exhale, down dog, 2 big breaths. One more big breath. Here we go, second round, toes to touch. Breath in, knees bend, step or float. Breath out. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, slight bend in your knees, tailbone heavy, look up. Hands to heart. Inhale again, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive down. Halfway lift, lengthen. Vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. Your Vinyasa can also just be an extra breath in a plank, maybe a push-up, making your way to meet in downward facing dog. One more breath. I'm going to take that same sequence for our last round of Sun A. When you're ready, heels, toes together, heels lift, bend your knees, exhale to step or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive, big breath in, takes you all the way up. Hands to heart, breath out. Inhale again, sweep up. Exhale, slide back down through that reverse swan dive. Inhale, half lift. Vinyasa Chaturanga as you exhale, high to low push up. Inhale, up dog or cobra, your back bend. Exhale, down dog. This time, 5 big breaths. Know that you can always swap your resting pose for a child's pose. You can always pause to drink water or wipe sweat. You can always take that rest as a seat on your shins. Give yourself about another 2 breaths. One more breath or so. You can also use the time to adjust your pants. All right, and then make your way back to that downward facing dog. Hips go high. From there, inhale, right leg swims up to that 3-legged dog. And again, bend your right knee, you can stack your hip open. Maybe you feel a little bit more length in the back of that left hamstring. And again, work on squaring your shoulders by pressing evenly into both palms. Spread your lifted right toes. Inhale, take your right leg to straight, square your hips. Bring that foot forward, set it off between your palms. We're gonna add a twisting lunge here. So again, squeegee that left foot back as much as you need, right knee over ankle, and then left palm plants maybe to a block. As you open, twist from your middle spine, take your right arm up. Keep plugging your right hip bone back into the socket, maybe gaze up to that right thumb, last big inhale. And then exhale, right hand down outside of your right foot, look forward, we're gonna step to chair pose. Left foot meets your right, sink into your seat. And then weight about 80% in your heels. Feel that sway come out of your low back as you tuck your tailbone, lift your arms. Making sure you can see your toes. Moving your arms back in line with your ears. Take another 3 big breaths. So one of my least favorite postures, which is why my breath sounds crazy. One more big inhale. Nice, and then straighten your legs, come all the way up to stand, and then bring your hands behind you to interlace your palms. This is where that strap or towel might come in handy. Press your knuckles down as you lift your gaze. And then bend your knees, take a waterfall of your fingertips overhead, either with that bind with the strap or towel, or with the interlacing of your fingers. And you can stay static here, just letting your fingertips reach, letting your head and neck and shoulders start to relax, or adding a bit of an alternating bend into each leg to open up through the side of your hips. Maybe letting your fists fall in the opposite direction of that straight leg. Taking 2 more rounds of breath, either with that movement or in that static fold. Then coming back through center, release your fingertips or bind, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, vinyasa or not. Make your way back to downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale, left leg goes high. And again, bend that left knee, open and stack your hip. Square your shoulders, a little micro bend in your right knee. One more big inhale, lift a little bit higher. And then straighten your left leg, square your hips. Bring that left foot forward and set up for that twisting lunge. Belly lifts up, left knee stacked over ankle, right hand down. Low back nice and long, tailbone towards that right heel as you open your left arm high, maybe lift your gaze. 2 big breaths here. Squeezing your right toes to left heel. 1 more big breath. All right, exhale, gaze down. We're gonna take a quarter turn to the right and find a wide-legged forward fold. So point your toes in slightly, so you're pigeon-toed on both feet. And then hands can come underneath your shoulders, a little micro bend in your knees. And again, we're gonna shift our weight to the balls of our feet, so ankles, knees, and hips are stacked in one line. And then take a lengthening inhale, like you're finding that halfway lift, belly up and in. And then press into your pinky toes. Keep that length in your hamstrings as you dive your chest down, keeping the rounding out of your upper back. So thinking like you're moving your heart forward towards the ground. 2 more rounds of breath here. Hands can maybe find blocks or walk in line with your toes. 1 more big inhale. Then inhale, find that halfway lift once again. And then take a quarter turn over to your right leg. So 1 quarter turn over to the right. We're finding warrior 1 from here. So outer left foot's gonna swivel down. Plug your right hip bone back. And then belly in an inhale lifts you up. Hands can start or stay at your hips. And just like chair pose, take the sway out of your spine. Maybe arms reach up, framing your ears. Pinkies rolling in. Little tuck of your chin. Bending that right knee in the direction of your pinky toe. Outer left foot's grounding down. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then inhale, turn your left heel up. Exhale, bring your hands down. Can plant your palms, maybe keep that right foot floating through a 3-legged Chaturanga. Again, always the option to skip the vinyasa, making our way to meet back in downward facing dog. 2 more big breaths. 1 more big breath. Nice. Inhale from here. We're going to take that left leg up and back once again. Exhale, bend your left knee. This round here, you can add that stack of your hip or find flip dog. Flip dog, you're going to lift onto the ball of your right foot, and then think of your right hand like a side plank. See how softly you can touch your left toes down off the mat. Pivot both sets of toes to face 12 o'clock. And then press your hips and heart high, drop your head back, hugging your inner thighs together like that blocks between them. We're gonna exhale, flip over, find side plank with the left palm. So if you're in that stacked hip, you're just gonna extend that left leg straight, and then roll onto the outer left edge of your foot, your left foot. Your right foot can come to the center, your left knee can touch down in a modified side plank, or you can stack your right foot on top of your left, bringing your tailbone towards your heel, lift your gaze up towards that right palm, and then exhale, make your way back through to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga or skip it. Find your way to downward facing dog. 2 big breaths there. One more big breath. All right, other side. Take an inhale, reach your right leg high. Exhale, bend your knees, stack open. Pause here. Work to square your shoulders or lift on the ball of your left foot. Flip dog. Right toes off your mat. Pivot your feet to 12 o'clock. Lift up. Push the earth away with your left palm. Drop your head. And then we're transitioning to side plank. Right hand slightly forward of your shoulder. Any variation. Right outer foot down. Maybe left foot is a kickstand or right knee to the mat. Otherwise, left arm is going to reach up. Close your lower ribs in. Tilt your left hip forward to stack. And then any way you can get that left foot back up to the top. We're going to find warrior one from there. So warrior one on the second side. Outer right foot swivels down. Hands can start to stay at your hips. Inhale, take your chest up. 3 big breaths here. 2 more. 1 more breath. Turn your right heel up. As you exhale, hands come down. Again, optional 3-legged vinyasa. Left foot stays floating through that high to low push-up. Optional vinyasa if you want to skip it entirely. And then making your way either through that down dog or resting in a child's pose for another 3 to 4 breaths. 1 or 2 more breaths. All right, make your way back to downward facing dog. Bring your big toes together. Take a little baby step forward. Inhale, lift your heels. We're going to step or float to chair pose. Breathing out. So big toes touching, little space in your heels. Tailbone drops. Inhale, lift your arms to frame your ears. 5 big breaths. 3 more. Last breath. This time, exhale, straighten your legs, fold forward all the way over towards your feet. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Big step with your left foot back. And take that quarter turn to the left. Find that wide-legged forward fold again. Slightly pigeon-toed here. Weight into your the balls of your feet. Little micro bend in your knees. Walk your hands forward. Halfway lift, belly up. And then exhale, fold down. Again, hands can come in line with your toes. Maybe they flip around, keeping your belly lifted and your heart moving forward first. You can pull yourself between your shins, getting deeper into those hamstrings. 2 more breaths. Inhale, get longer. Exhale, go deeper. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Exhale, quarter turn over that front middle foot. And then inhale, we're coming up to Crescent Lunge. So back heel stays lifted this time. Can squeegee that foot back as much as you need. Left knee bending towards your pinky toe side. Sway coming out of your low back. We're gonna add in a twist here. So you have the option to take your right knee down. Hands to heart center. Take an inhale, lift your heart up to your thumbs. And then pivot your right elbow outside of your left thigh. Use that connection to peel your chest open. Rolling your shoulders down in a way you can tuck those back toes and lift that back knee up if you'd like. Maybe keeping hands at heart or opening up your wingspan. Right hand can come to a block of the floor. Keeping your low back flat. Maybe that left arm extends all the way up. 3 big breaths here. 2 more. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to inhale. Come back to center, hands on either side of your left foot, and then Skandasana. Left toes at a diagonal till about 11 or 12 o'clock, right toes up. Hands can stay at the ground or they can come to your heart. Reach your shoulders down and back, active in your right toes. And then from here, if you want to start to move side to side, nice and slow, ask for the power in your pelvic floor to lift and keep your hips up. And again, you can take that option to bring your hands down to help you find that crawl. Just a couple rounds here, side to side with your breath, inhaling and exhaling. 1 or 2 more rounds. Then the next time you find yourself with a bend on your right knee, take a quarter turn to the right foot and find that low lunge to set up for crescent lunge on the other side. So inhale, come all the way up, breath in. Sink and settle into that front knee. Tailbone heavy, low ribs in. And then setting up for your twist. Again, option, take your left knee down. Lift your heart up to your thumbs. And then exhale, left elbow to outer right knee. And I'm going to spin around so you can see what it looks like on the other side. But I'm pulling my belly up and away from my right hip. And I'm keeping my left hip bone moving forward so I'm still square. Right heel hugging towards my left toes and left toes towards right heel. Again, hands can stay at heart or you can open up. Left hand to the ground outside of your right foot or a block. Right arm maybe reaches up. Breath is moving. 3 more counts. 1 more big breath. All right, from here, unravel, make your way back to center. And then quarter turn to the left, moving through that Skandasana. Right knee bends first, hands to heart or down to the ground. Take 1 shift over towards that left foot. Quarter turn back to that low lunge at the front of the mat. Plant your palms, step back, left foot meets your right, vinyasa or skip it. Make your way to downward facing dog. 3 big breaths. 2 more big breaths. 1 more big inhale. All right, so from here, I'm going to take that inhale, lift your right leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, this time hug it to your right elbow. From there, see if you can pull it up towards your armpit, maybe look back at your left toes. Inhale, up and back, 3-legged dog, square hips still. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, right knee to left elbow, cross it underneath. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, knee to nose once again to step that foot off between your palms. We're gonna find that twisting lunge again, so we've done this before. Right foot, left hand down, inhale, open your right arm high. All right, we're gonna use this as a transition into half moon. So right foot stays down, look down towards the earth. Right hand is either gonna find a block or fingertips slightly diagonal of your right foot. And then taking your left hand to your left hip, and start to push the earth away, open to stack. Right ribs lengthening forward, left hip stacking over the right. Ribs and shoulders stacking, left leg super activated. Kick through that floating heel. Then maybe your left arm extends overhead. As much of a bend as you need in that right leg. Maybe your gaze comes up, tailbone towards your left heel. 2 more breaths. 1 more big breath. All right, bring your gaze down. Bend your right knee. As softly as you can, you're going to take a big step back and find warrior 2. I typically have to straighten that right leg, find a distance between my feet that works. Right heel, that front heel is bisecting the arch of your back foot, and you're slightly pigeon-toed in your back left toes. Bend into that front knee, tailbone down, sway out of your low back, soft gaze over that front middle finger. 3 big breaths. 2 more big breaths. 1 more big inhale. We're going to flip that right palm, straighten your right leg, reverse triangle. Big length on that right side body. And then take that leg forward. Press your right hip towards the front edge of your mat. And then bring your right hand down to a shin, the floor, or a block. Left hand can stay at that left hip, or it can extend up. Lengthening out your right ribs. Little micro bend in both knees. Take 3 big breaths. 2 more big breaths. 1 more inhale. And then gaze down at your right foot. Take your left hand to your left hip. Turn your left heel up. And then bring your hands down to frame that front foot. Now plant your palms. Swim your right leg all the way up and back. And then you're going to walk your hands to your left toes. So finding a standing splits or more like a standing L or capital T at the back edge of your mat. I'm gonna pause here to get the length through our heart and the kick through that right foot. Then we're gonna come up to stand and balance for eagle pose. So as you exhale, bend your left and right knee, hug your right thigh to your chest, lean your weight back into your left heel. Your next big inhale, come all the way up to stand. You can pause for a breath with hands at hips or hands at heart. And then right leg is gonna swim up and over your left. Arms will come out to a T, and then swim your right arm underneath your left. Elbows come up to the height of your shoulders, little tuck of your chin, 5 breaths here. Sink down into that seat, squeeze thighs, outer shins and feet together. Sink a little bit lower if you can, maybe drip your fingertips forward slightly. Elbows stay high, 2 more breaths. 1 more big inhale. And then unravel, right foot down, swim your arms all the way up. Then bend your knees, take a swan dive, find your way all the way back down into a fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Exhale, walk your hands forward, make your way with or without a vinyasa to meet in a downward facing dog. 2 big breaths there. Then we'll make our way to the other side. All right, finding that downward facing dog, inhale, take your left leg up. And then exhale, left knee to left elbow. Seeing if you can pause there or slide that knee up to armpit, look back. Inhale, kick your left heel high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, left knee to right elbow, twist and tap that right arm. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, bring it forward, step it off between your palms. Take a big breath in there, and then set up for that twisting lunge, right hand down. Inhale, left arm up. And then we're transitioning to that half moon from here. Take your time with your breath, look down. Start to bring your weight into the left foot, left hand, maybe hand to a block, right hand to your right hip to start or stay. When you're ready, start to push the earth away, left toes stay at 12 o'clock. You're gonna iron out any wrinkles on your left side body, kick your right footprint back, and then you can open up as much as you'd like. If you fall out, no big deal. Belly is strong, pulling back to your spine, tailbone towards that right heel, and then maybe extend that right arm up. Pushing down, keeping your breath nice and fluid, 3 more rounds. 2 more rounds. 1 more breath. And then gaze down, start to find that big bend in your left knee. As softly as you can, big step back to warrior 2. Take a second to find your feet. Set your low belly to lift, your tailbone to drop. And then settle your gaze softly over that front middle finger. 2 more rounds of breath. 1 more breath. Flip your left palm. Inhale, we'll reverse your warrior, big stretch back. Straighten your left leg. Take all that length all the way forward. Again, if you need to adjust your stance, make it longer, you can. Left hand finds the shin, a floor, or a block. And then right arm goes up. And you can keep your gaze forward or down if that's better on your neck. Feeling your front and back heel pull together, your kneecaps lifting to activate and help you pull your tailbone towards that back foot. 2 more big breaths here. 1 more big breath. Slowly start to bring your gaze down, turn your right heel up, plant your palms. From this low lunge, you're gonna swim left leg up and back. Walk your hands towards your right foot, landing in that standing L, standing splits at the back edge of your mat. An extra breath there, pausing, catching the length in your spine. When you're ready, bend both knees. Hug your left knee into your chest, lean your weight to your right heel. Right and inhale all the way up to balance. From here, left leg's gonna swim up and over. Left arm is gonna swim underneath. If your palms don't quite touch, you can always bring your hands to your shoulders. Elbows up to the height of your shoulders, hug your belly back and in, squeeze down, maybe left toes as a kickstand outside of that standing ankle. 5 big breaths in eagle pose, Garudasana, tailbone heavy, belly up and in, low ribs together. Focus your gaze to a point in front of you, 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. Last one. And then unravel, left foot down, sweep both arms all the way up. Exhale, swan dive all the way down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, walk your hands forward, vinyasa or skip it. Making your way back, child's pose, or another resting pose for 5 breaths. All right, so we're going to take that same sequence we just did. I'm going to add on a little bit of a modification if you want to pump it up a bit. It's going to be at that sun A or sun B pace, so thinking 1 breath for each movement. Take it as fast or as slow as you want it. Again, add or subtract whatever it is that you might need or want at any point. It's going to be our last little standing sequence, and then we're going to take it down and start to cool off a little bit. So another 2 or 3 breaths at rest here. All right, and then start to think about making your way up and back to that downward facing dog. I'm going to talk you through it. Maybe a little bit fast, but again, make your way to meet us when you're ready. Add or subtract whatever you need. Keep your blocks and props nearby. Here we go. Right leg, inhale, take it up and back. Exhale, right knee to shoulder or elbow. Inhale, up and back, 3-legged. Exhale, knee to nose, think cat spine, push down. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, we're going to twist right knee to left elbow, fall in triangle. And your outer left foot will swivel down, right foot kicks out to the side. And then that right hand again feels like side plank as you push your chest up. Reach your right hip higher, drop your head back. Exhale, come around, step your right foot off between your palms and find that twisting lunge. Inhale for breath, right arm high. Exhale, half moon. Right hand down in front of your right foot. Take off, left limbs float. Pause for a breath here. Ooh, or maybe add on. Sugar cane pose. You can bend that left knee. Grab the top of your left foot. Kick back for an extra breath. And then extend back out. Big soft step. Warrior 2. Inhale, flip your right palm. Sweep back. Option here to find extended side angle or that triangle pose. So triangle pose, your right leg is straight, extended side angle, right knee stays bent, and your left palm overhead. Extra breath in here. Exhale, gaze down, frame your front foot, then swim your right leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, walk your hands back to your left foot, standing splits. Bend your right knee, inhale, come up, eagle pose, 2 big breaths. Go right into it, right leg over, right arm under, sink down. Strong breaths, 1 more. Inhale, unravel, big stretch up. Exhale, swan dive down. That's one side. Inhale, lengthen. Walk your hands forward, vinyasa, or skip it. Make your way back. For the last side, downward facing dog is the starting point. Here we go. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, left knee to elbow or armpit. Inhale, 3-legged. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Pause there. Kick it out, fall in triangle. Press that left hip up. Drop your head back. 1 more big breath in. Exhale, right hand down, left foot between your hands. Twisting lunge, right palm plants. Inhale, left arm up. Half moon, take your time. Wait for your breath, right limbs float. Right hand can start or stage your hip. Again, pausing here or adding on. Right knee bends. Grabbing for the top of that right foot or ankle, kick back. Then inhale, re-extend. Big soft step back to warrior 2. This is so hard to do and talk at the same time. Okay, inhale, reverse either triangle with a straight leg, or exhale, extended side angle, left hand inside of that foot, or elbow to knee as your right arm goes overhead. 2 big breaths. Left hip pressing forward in either posture. 1 more big breath. Exhale, gaze down, front your front foot with your hands, right heel up. 3-legged dog, left leg goes high. Exhale, walk your hands to your right foot. Take a breath in there to lengthen. Exhale, hug left knee to chest, shift your weight to your right heel, come up, 2 breaths in your eagle pose. Go right away into it. Left leg over, left arm under, tailbone down. 2 breaths. Last breath, inhale. Sink down, exhale. Inhale, unravel. Exhale, forward fold. Woo-wee. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, come forward, drop your knees. Make your way all the way down onto your back. Good work. All right. Taking a couple breaths on your back. You can find that Suprabatakanasana where we started class with feet together, knees out wide. Baby hands in that cactus or goalpost shape. Getting a bit more room across the front of your chest. All right. I'm going to set up for 3 back bends. You have the option to take a passive back bend or a passive bridge pose here. If that's something you want to do, passive just means non-active, so not a lot of muscle engagement, but you're still going to get the passive benefit of the back bend. If you want to chill out a little bit more, if you feel like your tank is a little empty, we're going to set up the same way, but keep your block nearby. Going for 3 rounds in our active bridges. Passive bridges, you can just hang out with the block underneath you. Starting first by making sure the distance from your feet to hips is just about the same as being able to graze the backs of your ankles with your middle fingers. And then again, remembering that hug of the block between your inner thighs, you can also use your second block to keep it there as a reminder. And then when you're ready, you're going to press down with an exhale through your feet, lift your hips, and then start to feel your spine lift until you get all the way up to your shoulders. Then you're going to walk your shoulder blades underneath you, and either grab a hold of the sides of your mat, pull down, or interlace your hands, maybe a strap or towel, press your forearms into the mat. So that's the active bridge. Passive bridge, you're going to take your block, start with the broadest height, and then you're just going to lay your sit bone or your sacrum on that block. If you want a little bit more height, you can always flip it to that second highest. And passive bridge, your hands will just rest by your hips or in that cactus shape. You've got 5 breaths in that active bridge. And then from there, unlace your hands or let go of your mat, untuck your shoulders, and slowly let your hips come back down. And then just walk your feet out wide, let your knees hug in, take a breath in between. All right, so that was 1 of 3 rounds of active or passive back bends. Again, passive, just hang out where you are, maybe close your eyes. Second round, active. Take a big breath in and exhale, press through your feet, lift with your thighs. Start to walk your shoulder blades underneath you. Interlace hands or grab your mat, press down. Feel your big toe mounds ground down into the mat. Reach your belly button towards the bridge of your nose. 5 breaths at the top. Knees hugging in at hips width distance, about 3 more breaths. About 2 more. 1 more breath. You can gently then release, unwalk your shoulders, lower your spine down onto the mat, feet wide, knees in, 1 breath in between. All right, third and final round. If you have a wheel in your practice and you can safely and comfortably get into it, that is an option for your third and final back bend. Otherwise, you have the option to take that passive as your third round or stick with that active bridge. I'm going to talk through a wheel pose. So when you're ready, choose your poison, and then if you're going for that wheel, you're going to point your fingertips in the direction of your shoulders. Your feet stay nice and firm, knees at hips width distance. Your exhale, then you're going to press into your hands, come up onto the crown of your head. You can readjust your hands, back to shoulder width distance. Feel your tailbone reach towards the backs of your knees. And then you're going to press up through there. See if you can move your chest forward between your biceps. Keep your feet at 12 o'clock. Maybe walk your feet in. Tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Chest towards the back of the room. Press down through your fingerprints. 5 breaths at the top. Keep breathing. Another 4. Last 3. 2. And then gently, if you're in that wheel pose, now bend your elbows, come back to the crown of your head, and then start to slowly untuck and lower your spine all the way down onto the mat. You can bring your hands back to that goalpost shape. Now you can start to find a windshield wiper motion of your legs side to side. Take another couple breaths. Walk your feet back to that hips width distance. We're going to take a reclined hip opener today. So we're going to find reclined pigeon. Take your right ankle, drape it over the top of your left knee. And you can determine how much sensation you want in that outer right hip. But making sure that your right foot stays flexed so that this kneecap stays from twisting side to side in the wrong direction. When you're ready, you can hug that left heel in towards your chest. Hands can interlace behind your left thigh. Maybe use a strap or towel if they don't quite connect. Or for more sensation, you can interlace your hands to the front of your left shin. And then, as much as you want sensation, you can push that right knee away from you with your elbow, or just with that muscular action. Keep the back of your neck nice and long. Walk your shoulders down and away from your ears. Take 5 big breaths here in this reclined pigeon, in this hip opener. Another 4. Another 3. Last 2. Last breath. And then gently unlace your hands. You can unhook your right foot from your left. Just take a second there with feet wide, knees knock in, maybe arms in that cactus shape. A big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, sigh. And then set up for the other side. So tailbone nice and flat, left ankle over top of your right knee or thigh. And then you can decide hands underneath your right leg, on top of your right shin, maybe add a strap or towel. And then if you want to press your left elbow into that left knee, again, feet stay flexed, nice and long spine, 5 big breaths here. 4 more. Another 3. Last 2. 1 more. And then gently release. Make your way both feet back down. This time you can hug your knees into your chest, maybe roll your forehead up towards your thighs. And we'll find a happy baby. Grab the outer edges of your feet, either that or your calves or ankles. And then as you push your heels up, pull back down with your hands. Again, entire length of your spine is flat. If you want to add a rock side to side, you can. Couple big breaths here. All right, then bringing your feet back down. We're going to take a supine twist before we settle into our Shavasana. So as we did in an eagle pose, standing, we're going to either take that option to wrap the right leg up and over the left, or you can just keep your knees stacked. And then arms will swim out to a T position, palms up to encourage opening through your shoulders. And then scoot your hips once or twice over to the right and allow both knees to then fall to the left. You may have to adjust your shoulders a bit so they're both nice and even and flat. And this may be a bit uncomfortable at first, but slowly as you begin to soften your breath, allow the the tension to move away from that middle spine, that top right hip from your low back. Your gaze can either stay up at the ceiling or complete the twist in your spine by letting your gaze fall towards your right palm. Take about 3 to 4 breaths here. About another 2 breaths. One more. When you're ready, coming back through center, unravel your legs if they're in that eagle wrap, set your hips back to center. If you want to give yourself that squeeze in between, feel free. Otherwise, we're going to set up for the other side, so knees can stay just stacked, or left leg this time up and over. Hips scoot once or twice to the left, and then both knees will then fall to the right. Again, adjust your shoulders if you'd like. And give yourself a little buffer zone at the beginning of this posture just to start to relax that tension away. Bring that awareness to your belly. See if your breath can really start to exaggerate the expansion and contraction. So as you breathe in, push your belly out in all directions. And then as you exhale, pull it back towards your spine. About 4 more rounds here. Last 2. Last breath. Making your way back through center, unravel your legs. And then from here, if there's any final posture you might like, whether it's an inversion or another back bend, another twist maybe, I'm going to take a headstand here. If you want to take legs up the wall, it's an easy inversion just to reverse your blood flow. You'll start off the same way you did in that passive bridge pose. So this is for your waterfall. Hips are high. Let that block settle underneath. Then legs can just stretch up. You can also do this at home, just keeping a bit of an angle between your butt and the wall. You don't want your legs to be exactly up and down. You want a little bit of an angle, otherwise your feet will fall asleep. And then taking hands by your hips, you can close your eyes here and stay for about 8 to 10 breaths, allowing your blood flow to reverse, any lactic acid to drain from your legs. Let your breath start to settle, the expression beginning to melt off of your face. Again, about another 8 or so breaths. And if you're working on headstand, you can always just set up in the setup. Just standing here, working on shifting your hips over your shoulders. This is a great place to stay. You'll still get the same benefit of the inversion. And then possibly just working on hugging one heel in towards your butt, maybe the other heel. You can also always pause in this little egg drop shape. Keeping your tailbone nice and long, your belly pulling back and in. You've got about another 5 breaths wherever you are upside down. And then after that 5th breath, if you're in a headstand, you're going to make your way to a child's pose as your counter pose. If you're in that waterfall, you can just start to set your feet back down to the ground, lift your hips, take that block out from underneath. And then making your way all the way down onto your spine. You can grab your 2 blocks as a little extra in your Shavasana here. Otherwise, if you prefer just to let your legs go long, your feet find their natural splay open, your hands can just rest by your hips open, either that or in that cactus shape. But the blocks can be really nice here, especially if you feel any tension in your low back. Let them rest underneath the backs of your knees like little pillows. And then you can walk your tailbone forward. And then from there, allow again your hands to fall open. Take that little tuck of your chin, walk your shoulders down and away. Take one last big inhale, fill your lungs all the way up to the very top and pause there. And then open your mouth, take a big sigh, and let it go. Allow that breath to become easy. Any constrictive breath can slowly start to mute. Again, feeling any tension maybe that's settled in your jaw, behind your ears or behind your eyebrows, start to relax. Any expression from your face can start to melt. Imagine yourself starting to expand in all three dimensions again as you inhale, getting wider and softer, up and down, side to side, front and back. And that softness allows any tension, any rigidity or stress to slowly start to unclench, clench, and clump. Letting everything slowly start to deconstruct, allowing the ground to make its way up to meet you. Anything you want to give into it, letting it relax and slowly start to melt into the ground. And give yourself about 3 minutes here and just a quiet rest in your Shavasana. Feeling free to stay here in your Shavasana as long as you'd like. Otherwise, you can slowly start to feel small movements as wiggles in your fingers and toes. Notice your chest and belly start to rise and fall with more depth. Eventually feeling rolls come back into your wrists and ankles. Being cautious of any props under or around you. Take your next inhale, the biggest inhale that you have, to stretch your arms up and overhead. Point your feet forward. Noticing which nostril you're breathing through. Roll into that side. Find a fetal position for your last couple breaths. Again, eyes stay closed. Movement slow and steady. Giving yourself one last chance to grab a hold of this feeling of rest that you've afforded yourself. Making your way up to a comfortable seat when you feel ready. Again, eyes stay shut. And feeling your shoulders slightly shift back to stack directly over your hips. And feel that little tuck of your chin into your chest to lengthen the back and sides of your neck. Your hands can either stay palms up nice and heavy on each knee or gather towards one another at your heart center. And taking one last big clearing breath together, or feeling free to take an Om with yourself at home along with our breath. When you're ready, an inhale again fills its way up to the very top of your lungs. With an open mouth and a sigh, let everything go. From there, feel your thumb knuckles raise and land between your eyebrows. pause there and give yourself a huge rub, a big press of acknowledgement for the time you made in your day for yourself, this time to care and protect yourself. Taking a breath here to acknowledge all those around you you care for, all those before us who created these practices and structures we use to help our lives stay vibrant. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Thank you guys so much. Namaste.